That's fine. I just have to remember to salt the rim. Okay. And Facebook is live.
Okay. We're good.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Crazy Cabin Fever Cocktails Day 29. I am Tim Little of Distilled Living. We've got two cocktails for you this evening, and full disclosure, both of these are Hillary's recipes, as are like 60 or 70% of all the cocktails that we do at this point.
That's not intentional.
She just,
Not at all.
yeah, she takes over. So, as we did in a little preview, Bourbon Margarita, and we're doing a really interesting bourbon sweet tea drink. So starting with Bourbon Margarita. So basically, we are taking the classic margarita recipe and subbing in bourbon, and basically it's more of a, it's like going to be a bourbon lime sour in a glass with salt rim. That's pretty much where we're going with this, which is pretty easy to do. I've got my martini glass chilling because that's how Hillary likes this presented, and I'm a little nervous about these limes. We're going to see how we're going to do with these limes, but I'm going to give it a roll because I want to press and break some of the cells so that I'm able to get more juice out of this. Because this is going to be a classic 2-1-1 recipe. So it's built on that 2-part spirit. We're going to use Hartfield & Company bourbon whiskey right here. And this bottle's getting really low, but that's all right. We're going to roll with it for tonight. And 1 part sweet, 1 part strong. In this case, it's going to be a sour, strong flavor. So I'm looking for 2 ounces, 1 ounce, 1 ounce. Sometimes you'll see this done with less sweet, especially I was looking through a lot of cocktail book recipes recently. Your bigger metropolitan area bars seem to be like really bringing back the sweet on a lot of these kinds of things, but I'm doing a more classic and definitely Kentucky style recipe. So let's see how we do this. All right. So that normally would be an ounce of juice.
Slightly sad limes right now.
There are sad limes right now.
Is it like a half an ounce?
It's just under 3/4. For expediency, I'm going to top it off. We've got some good fresh flavor in there. I just want to bring up the balance quickly rather than doing another one of those. Shaker, right? We're using fruit juice, which has a different viscosity than everything else, and it's got pulpiness, so that is going to go in the shaker.
And we talked about a couple of options for things that you can do at home. Mason jar is one of them. If you don't have a shaker at home, you can use a mason jar. You can use a regular lid, or if you happen to have one of these fun, funky flip tops like that, that also works. But you can use any mason jar as long as it's large enough. Some of the smaller ones are not going to be big enough to do a cocktail in, but most of your larger ones will be.
Yep.
I'm actually putting together a page that will be like kitchen items that you already might have, in case you're like looking for something that you're missing from your bar in a pinch.
And now you just shake this for 10-20 seconds. You start to get a little frost on the shaker. And, ooh. See, I went slightly too long. I had too much vacuum.
This is also why I really don't like the glass ones. I have broken glass ones.
Glass shakers are... I know why they exist, but whatever. Okay, so I chilled my martini glass. I'm going to dump the ice. And now I want to do a salt rim. And the way I like to do a salt rim, these are sad limes. Okay. Is I'm going to... Oh, I just blocked that so you can't see it. Sorry. I cut my lime. I'm cutting it down into a wedge. And then I'm going to cut a slit in it and run the slit around the outside of the glass, just at the top. And that is going to give me a little moisture and a little sugar, just going to give it a little stickiness. And I have salted plate, and I'm just going to come around just like this. There are like glass rimming like mixtures that you can buy, which are basically high fructose corn syrup and citric acid. So yeah, we're not doing that. We're going to use an actual like real ingredient. And I typically don't order things with salt rims at bars unless I can see the bartender work, because they've got little tools that speed up this process when you're doing a whole lot of these. I just wonder how often they get cleaned. So this is a home thing.
If you're having, sorry to interrupt you, but if you're having trouble getting the salt to stick, because sometimes it is a little difficult, if you want to rim essentially with some simple syrup or honey, that guarantees your salt.
Oh yeah.
This is more natural. It's a nice even coating, but sometimes we'll have a dry lime or something of that nature, or I'm just simply working with jarred lime juice, and that's not easy to work with in terms of throwing a glass.
Yep. And I mean, it doesn't really need a garnish. You could garnish it up with like a lime wheel or something. But I think this is how it should be, and it's really really good. It's just really really good. It's actually really, even with that touch of the jarred lime, that is nice. Classically, you would use kosher flaked salt, but we don't have that in it, so we use just a sea salt that's actually really really high quality. So there is that first one.
Technically, this one is mostly on our website already.
Yes, because the reason we did this is because we were looking at stuff on the website and things, and our most popular page is the Bourbon Margarita page that Hillary put up like 2 years ago.
I think that's actually 3 years.
3 years?
Somehow Cinco de Mayo and the Kentucky Derby landed on the same day, so we did some sort of weird amalgam.
Yes.
That garnished it.
And I almost forgot. Yes. So as a Cinco de Derby concept, which the last little bit of minute we have in the house, we got to get some more, and that needs to live up over the side, and that's just gives you a nice little second accent note on your drink.
Totally unnecessary. If you don't like the bit, you don't have to do it.
That's why I almost forgot it. Okay, so that's our first one, Bourbon Margarita as a Cinco de Mayo concept, or Cinco de Derby concept, excuse me, and it's actually really, really freaking tasty. Now the next one, also a Hillary invention. We've been talking about doing Southern Sweet Iced Teas a lot, and Hillary brewed up some sun tea the other day. So if you've never brewed sun tea, basically it's exactly how it sounds.
Do you need me to describe this?
Go ahead. Tell me what you did.
Basically, you put the tea bags in the water, you take it outside when it's a nice and sunny day, and you let it brew. Usually you have an issue with black teas. If you overbrew them, they get tannic, but when you do a sun tea, it's never hot enough to bring out those tannins. Mm-hmm. You can also make this with hot water, but with your black tea, you're going to need to do the 3 to 4 minutes that it recommends, typically on the container. On your, I think the other one doesn't have a tea in it, right?
Okay, so we are using Elmwood in teas. Thank them for their support of our show. And this is the Kentucky blend. We've used this a bunch before. We've also used this as a whiskey substitute, bourbon substitute in some mocktails. And then we're also using the Farmer's Market. This is a caffeine-free, so this doesn't have any actual tea tree leaves in it. This has dried apple, rosehip, hibiscus, cucumber, lime, lemon, orange, and tomato. I know it sounds weird, but it's actually really, really delicious.
Very nice, fruity, a little bit floral tea.
Yeah.
And that one you don't have to worry about how long the tea leaves are in the water quite as much as you do with the black tea.
Yep. Super beautiful flavors, good, great strength. Came out really, really well. So because of that flavor profile, because of all that floral, we went with 4 roses, and this evolved through a lot of different concepts to finally on a kind of a sweet tea sangria concept. And instead of using, we were experimenting with a lot of cocktails this week, and instead of using red wine, we're going to use port. So we're going to use Sandman Fine Ruby Porto for this. And I'm actually going to build this in the glass. First thing I'm going to do is free up a little space. So I am going to start with my smallest and cheapest ingredient, which is actually going to be some orange juice. So this is going to be like a half an ounce of orange juice. And this is much juicier than those freaking limes that I was working with. All right. Make sure there's no lingering lime juice because that's not the right flavor profile. Orange juice is very often overpowering, like massively overpowering in cocktails. So it's not used a whole lot. But this is going to be a taller drink. It's going to have more liquids in it. And I'm not using very much. So I'm able to balance the flavor profile. So I'm looking for, she wrote it down for me, half an ounce of orange juice. Right on. Look at that. I squeezed exactly half an ounce. There's a lot of sweet character already here, but it just needs a little bit more sweetness, direct sweetness. It's going to get some from the port, but we're also going to do a 1/4 ounce of simple. And now we're going to do half ounce of the port. Yep. So nice. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting some condensation on this because I store this in the refrigerator. Fortified wines should be stored in a refrigerator. Get pissy about that.
Unless you're going to drink them in like a week. I mean,
right.
If you're going to drink them in a couple weeks, you can probably, or have it for, I don't know, certain kinds of cooking.
Yes, exactly. But really, your vermouths, your ports, your sherries, you want to store those chilled. Not as cold as an American refrigerator normally is. That's why if you're really into it, you get a specialized beverage fridge. This is a different temperature, but that's beyond this show. 2 ounces of the Four Roses small batch because that matches the flavor profile. And we want it to be like a nice, hearty drink. And then we're going to do... Oops, I did too much Four Roses. It's supposed to be 1 ounce. Oh well. Twice as much bourbon. We're also going to offer a scaled up version if you want to go ahead and make this as a pitcher for a party.
Or to sip on all week.
Yep, 2 ounces of the iced tea. This is really, really fragrant. And I know I just said lime juice shake. There is so little orange juice compared to everything else. I'm going to go ahead and just do it in the glass and not worry about shaking it. And it's going to integrate and it's going to be fine. And that is all there is to it. Now, just because... running out of a little space here. I need to give it the classic Sangria fruit. No, that's not a good slice. I want a good slice in this one.
I want to go into pieces.
You want pieces now? You showed me do a whole one earlier. Just saying. How about I do a little fan?
Okay, fine. Get all super decorated here.
We'll see if it... I don't quite have enough ice that I would normally like to have for doing a fan, but I think I can make it.
Oh, that's good enough.
Just prop it up. There we go. It's right on the edge. You can just barely see it. See? It's there on the side. It's cool. It's going to give it a nice aromatic.
How's it with that extra bourbon too?
It's really good. It's really good, actually. I don't know. I might...
Is it better than it was with just the ounce, or are you going to adjust our recipe?
Potentially, we'll get a second opinion. I actually kind of like it better with that extra ounce of bourbon in it.
I'm not sure it would sit as well. Like if you were going to have it in the refrigerator, especially with pieces of fruit in it.
Fair point.
I'm not sure I would do the extra bourbon. It makes it a much more bourbony drink to have 2 ounces in it.
Yes.
And it is delicious.
So we'll leave it on the website as the original recipe. If you're drinking it quick, and you want a little extra shot of bourbon in it, it actually supports the second ounce pretty well. So, that's what we've done for day 29. The Cinco de Derby modified bourbon margarita with a mint sprig in it, which is actually really delicious. And then this cool southern sweet iced tea bourbon sangria. Ruby sangria is what you would call it because we're using the ruby port.
So it has a name now?
I mean, that's its proper descriptor. So yeah, cheers.
I think we have an idea for next week. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. Do you remember, Tim?
No, it's written down though.
Oh, it's on a post-it note. So we actually have a post-it note
Oh,
recipe
yeah.
already, and I cannot remember what it is still.
That's right. I set it off to the side. It was one that we came up with in doing some other cocktail design work. That was good, really, really, really surprisingly good, but not a match for what we were trying to come up with. So we set it aside. So we're going to do that for next week. It's not a bourbon cocktail, but I think you'll enjoy it anyway.
We'll come up with another bourbon cocktail for next week too. We'll
Yeah, definitely.
As always, the recipes will be online there tonight. This video is going to be the only video. I'm not doing backups right now for some reason. So this video, and I'll get that on YouTube. And as always, Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're committed to doing this through the end of June. We'll reassess come July if we're going to continue on at that point too.
Yep. And as always, if you have any suggestions for stuff you got in your fridge, things you want us to try, any interesting direction, we've really enjoyed working with the suggestions that people have made. Please send them our way. Look us up on Distilled Living on all the socials and distilled-living.com. And stay tuned for an announcement about a special bourbon virtual tasting we are doing for Father's Day.
All right. I think that's it,
I
everybody.
think that's it. All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, we might have questions.
I have questions.
Nope, we're good.
Looks great.